Antarctica is absolutely freezing. This is me on the 10th of November, 2006. Not with some bad cocaine habit. This is actually me breathing normally, and every single breath that I put out froze on my face. It's -40, which is the same in Celsius as in Fahrenheit. If you ever want to reconnect to who you are and what you're about, go here. Really. There's no challenges with all the different things in life. This will wake you up. I was here on a climbing expedition, and I realized the power of this incredible continent. Only when I got there, I trained for a year. An advertising guy from New York City, here at the bottom of the earth, in the summertime, at -40 when it warms up. It's so cold that the fabric on your jacket starts to crack and split. Your fingernails start to retract from the dry air. And your hair starts to fall out of your head. And obviously doesn't grow back very quickly. Still trying. Every moment of your time there is exhausting. The liquids in your suntan lotion, which is critical, dries and separates, so it becomes solid and liquid. If you have a battery and a camera to capture this beautiful moment, it goes within half an hour. It's so extreme and so harsh that every single moment needs to be considered. You have to be absolutely present. The place is so huge. It's bigger than Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, China, all together. Yet on average, there are half the number of people on that continent that are in this room. This wasn't the tough day. This isn't the lesson I want to pass on. This was the day before. The day after that you saw a bit of footage that represents what I was going through was on 11/11/2006. And boy, was I making some wishes. The weather had turned. There was a storm that came in that we didn't predict. And suddenly, the temperature started to drop. The visibility in front of me had dropped with clouds. I was at 13,000 feet. The breath work would have been really helpful then, but I could hardly breathe. Every single step was a moment of concentration. And I thought things could not get worse. And I was wrong. Because of my breath, because I was trying to get through this element of hardship, and I was trying to keep the focus, our guide had resigned because of altitude sickness. She'd headed back down to the camp. It was just me and my climbing partner, Jamie. Because of the exertion and the breathing, my goggles started to fog on the inside. I couldn't see. And I knew that if I fell at this point, the terminal velocity would kill me. The clothes would be ripped from my body, and there would be no rescue. That's the risk as a mountaineer. But at that moment, I thought I'd solved it. I took off my outer mitt. I took off my inner mitt. I took off my base mitt glove and started to scratch with my part frostbitten hands the ice that was on the inside of my goggles. Then shock hit. My hand had frozen in a claw. And there was nothing I could do. I couldn't open my fingers to put the gloves back on. what did I lose my hand? And the breathing picked up, so my goggles started to frost again. And I hit a wall. I hit a wall of absolute desperation. It took me back to my childhood in that moment. At school, I was probably one of the best students at failing every single exam. Absolutely shocking. I got the lowest grade in Latin, 11%. I didn't even know I was studying Latin. And they made me give up Latin to play trumpet, which was absolutely useless as well. But as a child at school, I was bullied because I didn't know I was dyslexic. We didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what ADHD meant. I just thought I was thick. I was told I was stupid. And I failed every exam. And at 18 years old, I got my exam results on a piece of paper, standing in line, behind the guy that went to Oxford, and in front of the guy that went to Cambridge. And I got mine, and it said I'd failed each piece. And I had to go and sit in the car with my stepfather, who had kindly brought me there to explain my exam results. And he was a headmaster, not the best audience to explain you failed all your schooling. Sadly, my mother had passed away 3 months before, and this gentleman had taken me in his heart when he was 4 years old, after my father had passed away when I was 6 months old. So this guy was already on his knees. And he said, "How did you do?" I said, "I let you down." And he looked at me, and he gave me the best piece of advice that I've used every single day of my life. He said, "William, you face a wall right now. A wall that we need to work out how we get over, under, or around. Because you're going to face walls for the rest of your life. We all do." He said, "You just need to have the right people alongside you to help you get around." He said, "The wall around the boarding school that I was in was not a wall to you. I remember you telling me the story of the day you climbed over it for the first time, to go down into town and have your first pint and your first kiss. That wall was not a challenge then. That wall was part of the journey." We all face walls. And I was at a wall there in Antarctica, wondering how I would go on. And the story rebuilt my confidence to stand back up. Suddenly there was a hand on my shoulder. Jamie, my climbing partner, silently took off his goggles and put them on my face. He took my hand and put it under his armpit, inside his 3-layer jacket. Took it out slowly, put them back on, and just said, "You're okay." All of us face walls in our life. The key is to ensure you don't always go in the front door of every opportunity you've got. Every time you find an opportunity, how do you go over, around it, or under it? All of us face some form of anxiety or concern. All of us feel insuperior and feel that confidence crisis of where we are in life. All of us feel we're not good enough. Every single person that has spoken on this stage, I can promise you, was back there, breathing deeply, wishing we'd done the breath work, terrified. That's called life. And in reality, in life, you face 7 grand challenges, earthquakes, they call them, that will happen to you in your life. It may be a loss of a loved one, or it may be a marriage that doesn't work out, or it may be being fired at a job, or it may be in a natural disaster, or it may be. That is life. In fact, you're going to get 30 shakes outside of that 7. So 80% of your life is focusing on things that have gone wrong or things that you're worried about for the future. For all of us. Just know you're going to be okay because you're in great company. Look how many awesome people are here that are all going through what you've gone through. The key is not to be alone. How can you reignite and unleash the super you? I've spent 30 years working with some of the biggest brands in the world, the Nikes, Netflix, Facebook, Coca-Cola, Apple, helping them build a strategy so that people like us will fall in love with them. Why? Because if you fall in love with a brand or a person, if they screw up, you'll forgive them. We're in an era of likes being more important than love. And if you don't feel liked, you move on. If you don't like something, you move on. But if you love something, you will fight for it. Brands need to be love marks. And today, I thought I'd give you a bit of an insight on how to be loved. How does that sound? Okay, good. So the first thing is to be who you are. And unfortunately, as a child, I looked a little bit like Chucky. I was pointed out by my best friend. Not the child you want to wake up in the middle of the night and they're standing at the end of the bed. As Chucky, as William, sorry, I lost it for a sec. I followed a journey of actually trying to be authentically me. But I was inspired by a role model. My real father, William Short, and his father, William Short, was the real Willy Wonka. Gummy bear, licorice all sort, jawbreakers. We were the largest innovative candy inventing company in the world. And William Short used to take the doors at the end of the factory week and open them up so all the beautiful dyes would run into the gorgeous streams, and all the kids used to go in the river and go home orange and green and blue and all these radiant colors. He was the apple of my mother's eye, but the sugars killed him. He died in 6 months of cancer of the stomach. He was so an in-awe character. My sisters, 3 elder sisters, Debbie, Jo, and Emma, all a lot older, worshipped him. So when I was born into a world without a father and 3 powerful sisters and a powerful mother and a powerful granny, etc., all they talked about was the power of this incredible man. He was my role model. He was my superhero. He was my mentor in life. And my mother married John, the stepfather from the car, who was the headmaster, who had the bravery to take on 4 children and a woman as a teacher and help them survive. But you know what? I didn't really respect him. I didn't admire him as a role model. Even though from his work in academia, he was knighted by the Queen for bringing the arts and helping children in the Boy Scouts realize dreams. Why? Because my role model was romantic. I didn't know my real father. He could have beaten me, he could have been mean, he could have been sleeping around, whatever the reality of a lot of different people have. But he was romantically so inspiring that only when I wrote my stepfather's eulogy did I realize I'd missed the point. Many of us have role models that are romantic, that are not real. They have people like me writing their books, crafting their stories. And therefore, you will never attain the balance of who you are if you follow romance. Does that make sense? Brands focus on step by step ensuring consumers love them. We have to do the same. We have to be ourselves. We have to be authentic. But that sounds easier than it is. And there is a trick. There is a challenge that we all face. In branding, we use a very simple formula. It comes from astrology. It's a 4-step formula. And I'd like you to get your phones out if you have them. You turn on the Wi-Fi or the cell, and we're going to do a little test, if you don't mind. If you don't have phones, awesome. I'll explain it. So, in branding, we look to identify how we should focus our energies. Should we focus our energies on one message so that everything we do can be supportive of that message? Triangles, often people in a leadership position. Squares, structured, strategic. Squiggles, creative. Circles. But in reality, we often present ourselves as somebody we are not. So I want to do a test, if you would. From these little animation bits, you will see a QR code coming in. I want you to take a picture of it, and I want you to do the quiz. I want you to pick the first shape you're attracted to, then the second shape, and then the shapes that are left. We'll come to that. We good? So, if we raise the house lights a little bit, if you don't mind. Okay, everybody that picked a triangle as their second shape, could you please stand up? Triangle. Second shape. Have a look at these people. Could you put the house lights up a little bit, guys? Wherever you are. Can't even see them. These people are natural leaders. They're natural leaders, and they know how to direct and guide what you're needing. Second shape, if you pick this as your first shape, please stand up. There's a triangle. These people are having to lead. They're needing to lead. They're driving for lead, but they can be a little bit tough with it. They can be a little bit aggressive with their leadership. They find it hard to take the gloves off. They're having to lead because they haven't got a choice, and people want to follow them, but they're driving them. Please sit down. Don't worry, you have a second shape, so you can go back to you. Yeah. If you picked this, don't need to stand up, as your third or fourth shape, it means you don't need to lead, don't have to lead. Follow somebody else that's a leader. We all need a number 2, a number 3, a number 4. We need that support. If you picked a square as your second shape, could you stand up, please? Usually there's only about 8 people that are the squares. Squares are naturally super organized, structured, systematic, often German. Probably not many Germans here today, but very, very organized. And these are the people you need to rely on to make sure your business is operating right. Often very good at finance or accounting or structure. Okay, you can sit back down. If you picked a square as your first shape, that means you're needing more control. Stand up, the squares, first shapes. You're needing a bit more control and structure in your life. Sorry. No throwing things, all right? Okay, and if you pick this, square, third or fourth, it means you need structure and organization in your life, and use other people for that power. Don't pretend to be it yourself. John? Don't pretend to be it yourself. Hire somebody to do that, to own that structure. Squiggles, first shape, second shape, please stand up. Squiggles, naturally creative. Now, you may not be a great artist or performer or whatever. Your brain doesn't stop moving. You have lots of ideas. You're creative. And if you picked Squiggle as your first shape. Anybody? The squiggles who the first shape probably didn't hear me ask that question because they're on their Instagram or doing some other stuff. They're usually a little bit caught you, ADD, all over the place, trying to work out where they're at in life at the moment. Squirrel. Oh, look at that over there. Right? If you pick squiggle as your third or fourth, if you're going to go out to a party and have fun, go with this person. If you picked a circle as your second shape, please stand up. Good sized room. These are naturally people. We naturally trust them. We naturally want to be around them. They give us confidence and support. If you picked, thank you. If you picked a circle as your first shape, please stand up. Okay, could somebody give these people a hug? They want to be part of a tribe. They're looking for family and community. That's it, give them a hug. They need it. Oh, Dragonfly, best event ever. And if you pick this as your third or fourth shape, you're probably not a people person. In fact, you're quite irritated sitting with a bunch of people right now. Seriously? That guy just hugged me? That is disgusting. But if you're going to go to an event, go alongside a circle person because everybody will be coming to them. Right? If you understand your shapes and how it works, then you will know how to connect as a leader with others. If you do not know how somebody is, you will fail in connecting. Myself, I'm a triangle first shape. Since a little boy, I had to survive and do it out all on my own. There's no one else to lean on. But as a leader, as a second shape squiggle, I'm the worst. I come in every morning, I've had another 120 ideas. Can we not just do the one we started yesterday? No, I have to express them. Or, having a square or a circle as my third and fourth shape, I don't want to go and walk into a room like this at the back and feel like I'm exposed. It terrifies me. Or, give me a balance sheet or accounting, absolutely rubbish. Understanding this is critical. If you have children, my wife is the opposite. Triangle is my first shape. I think I'm the leader. Triangle is her second shape. She actually is the leader. Right, Jean? There you go. Told you. Squiggle, she thinks she's more creative than me, but that's my real shape, so I kind of lead the final creative decisions. The challenge, our daughter Bella, first shape, square. Why? Because mum and dad are all over the place, being disorganized, creative, and leading, so she wears the pants of the family about our organization system, structure of what we should do at the weekend. But it's not a natural shape. A natural shape is the leader, the triangle. So she's overbearing and too strong with her friends. Don't sit on my bed there. Don't touch that. That's my dog. It's our fault. Because we are not leaning into who we are and understanding what she needs. And if you don't help people understand their superpowers and their strengths, they will think that there's a challenge or they will compromise or change. Take this and use this game on any of your friends. You'll probably go, ha, told you were like that. But it will open your eyes to who you're around. In a business, you must have a triangle, a leader, a square for operations, a squiggle to do the creative, and a circle so people are connected. We often hire people that are like us and connect with us. You can't have a bunch of triangles. When I go motorbiking, when I first did it, there was a bunch of us. We were all trying to be at the front. Not in accordance to speed, but about leading. And I said, guys, I drew it in the sand. What is your shape? All of us were triangles. We were all trying to lead. Okay, can we just lead in order of our caliber and speed that we go? As long as you explain it and understand who you are, you will get there. But it takes time, and you have to dance with understanding who you are. When I discovered I was naturally a squiggle, after being told my whole life, you're not the creative, you're really good at the triangle bit, when I started realizing that I was living a false lie of being a leader, not wanting to hang out with triangles because they exhausted me. But now I celebrate my squiggle. I find space for myself. I swim and dive. I motorbike and meander. I do things about movement, and now I feel awesome. When you put me as the leader in the triangle, I'm too aggressive. Square, I'm too boring. Circle, I'm just so uncomfortable. Understand that second shape and lean into it and start to make decisions and understand. So I want to take how from that to this. This is a bullfighter. A rodeo bullfighter on the right, your right, and a rodeo bull rider here. These are people that I do not understand why the hell they do it, but they do. And they try and stay on a bull for 8 seconds. But when they come off, this person is the hero. In life, while we're changing who we are and adapting who we are, you have to understand that you will all face a challenge, a bull in your life. And I asked this rodeo bullfighter friend here, Raymond, how do you know you're in control of the bull? He said, I only know I am in control of the situation when my hand touches the head of the bull. Let me unpack it. In life, we all face bulls. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be our health, whatever it is. We have 3 choices of how we engage. 1, we can try and get on the bull to control it. And guess what happens? We will get thrown off. You try and control your relationships with a stern hand, it will bite you. If you try and dictate to your employees or your teams exactly what to do, they will avoid you. If you try and control things with an iron fist, it will not work. The alternative is you run from the bull, but you will be hit. Relationships are about dancing. Opportunity and leadership is about dancing. I can assure you, every relationship failure you've had, be it work or at home, everything without your health that you have let down and you have suffered, everything that you needed and wanted but you haven't been in control and failed at is because you did not have your hand on the head of the bull. You were trying to control it or avoid the situation. Because if you put your hand on the head of the bull, if it goes this way, you dance. If it goes that way, you dance. You move with it. In a relationship, if you have an argument, how often does it work where you leave the house and say, screw you, that's it, it's not working at all, you're an idiot. A few hours later, can I come back in? Sorry, da-da-da. Or you try and dominate the relationship. Doesn't work. But if you dance and realize, you know what, this is a moment of energy we have to move past, you will get there. Every challenge you face in life, if you treat it as a dance, not a match, you will become a super brand, a superpower, because you will be engaged, you'll be awake, and you will be authentically representing yourself. And then you've got to feed the wolf. We all have negative and positive challenges. In the branding world, we all have positive opportunities and negative things that will happen. You've got to decide, are you going to feed the good wolf or the bad wolf? If I'd have relied on thinking that I was going to be thick and not good at school, I wouldn't have raised myself to the top of one of the largest ad agencies in the world. I believed that I could do it, and I associated with good things. If you're in a pond in life with people that are not good for you, get out of the pond. If it was a crocodile, you wouldn't stay in there. But we often stay in relationships and processes, or we put ourselves in situations that are bad for us. If you have somebody in your life that is just pulling you down and negative, does not agree with diversity of thought and inclusivity, ask them to get up from the seat of your table in life so somebody else can sit down that will fuel you. We will all have pendulum swings in life. We will all feel awesome. Every day we will have a high. But the wake-up is when the pendulum goes really high to feel awesome, it will at some point go to the same height of feeling terrible. We are designed to oscillate every single day with positive and negative. It's how we're designed to keep awake, to keep alert, to keep around. The key is to realize that you do not make decisions when you're feeling terrible or absolutely awesome. Brands do not react when something awesome quickly happens or something terrible happens. They bring it to the calm. At Disney, if you're an animator and you come to work and you're really happy, they won't let you animate. If you come to work and you're very depressed, they won't let you animate because your style will change. Who you are is fake. You have to calm and navigate it. And to do that, you have to surround yourself with the right people. And for too long, we surround ourselves with tribes that are the same as us. Boring. We are all absolutely incredibly diverse, awesome people. Everybody here is a superhero. Everybody. If you celebrate who you are, what you value, who you're with, and make sure that you do things for love, not likes. Being there and being supported is the most critical thing. And that's why Elevation Barn and Dragonfly are coming together to help leaders lead well, to help make a difference in the world so that you can be the true superhero every single person in this room truly is. Thank you.